first graders. Welcome back to your TV classroom. Today is Monday, March 8th. Let's check in with our zones before we begin our lesson today. How are you feeling today, friends? Are you sad or ready to learn or worried or mad? How are you feeling?
How about you, Mrs. Wally?
Well, Mr. Kevin, I'm in the greenish yellow zone. I'm feeling happy, but my brain is really struggling to focus. I have lots of thoughts whirling around in my brain. I've been able to film my lessons, but it's been really difficult today. But the good news is that I'm doing it. And even though it's hard, I can do hard things. And so I am just putting one foot in front of the other and teaching my lesson. So I'm in the greenish yellow zone.
Good.
How are you today?
I would say greenish yellow zone as well, just because, lots of things going on right now. I've got a friend who's not doing well. So,
I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
It's really hard when people we love aren't doing well. Makes it really hard to focus on our work.
It does.
Let me know if I can do anything to help you, okay?
Okay.
Okay. All right, friends.
Teach me some math.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do some Make It Monday. Take a look at this number. What are some ways that we can make the number 27? Look at the numbers we get to use. What are some ways? I automatically do the first thing, which is separate the tens and the ones. And so I know I can make the number 27 using 20 and 7. Mr. Kevin, what's a way you're thinking of to make the number 27?
How about 17?
Ooh.
There's no 17.
There's no 17. They took that one away.
Okay,
that was tricky.
How about a 16? And a 9?
Oh, I can't. There we go. A 16 and a 9.
I didn't do that right, did I? I was going to say 17 and 10.
So if we go
16 and 11.
Yes, there you go, Mr. Kevin. Mr. Kevin, you got it. 16. It's not letting me highlight it. Do you see me having that struggle?
I see that, yeah.
Oh, dear. I got to let it go away. Hang on. It's going to disappear. Well, it's not disappearing. So it would be 11 right there. There, I solved my problem. Look at me go. Okay, friends, what's another way? What if we did 14 and 13? That would be 27.
Wow.
I can't do those either, so I'm just going to try my best. What if we did 18? What would go with 18? 18 and 9. Because 8 and 9 is 17 plus 10 more is 27.
There's the 9.
There's the 9. What if we did this one, Mr. Kevin? What if we only had 2? What other number would we need?
25.
25. Okay, friends. Now we're going to get going with our lesson. Are you ready? Oh, and I forgot to press start again, Mr. Kevin. Can you tell me how much time we've been
4
going?
minutes.
4 minutes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, friends.
It's all good.
Perfect. Today we are learning to organize data, record it, and answer questions. So we took time just looking at graphs, and we took time answering questions about graphs, and now we're gonna organize the data, make the graph, and answer questions. Are you ready? I'm really excited for this lesson. But before we begin, we're gonna practice adding multiple add-ins, because when we're answering questions about graphs, many times we have to add 3 or more data points to get a total. What is 3 plus 4 plus 5? It's 12. Here's how I did that. Are you ready? I took 3 from the 4 and made that 6, and the 1 from the 4 and made that 6, and 6 plus 6 was 12. Did you think of it that way, Mr. Kevin? Probably not.
No.
Interesting, huh? Okay. Ooh, what's this one? I see a friend of 10. Who sees a friend of 10? I see it. Dun, da, da. Friend of 10. Plus 5 more is 15. And I just thought of something up here too. Look at this. You could also do it this way. That's 10 and 2 left over to make 12.
Nice.
And then I see another friend of 10. 6 and 4 is 10, and 4 more is 14. How many of each kind of ball are there? You can make a tally chart. You could make a picture graph. I want you on your whiteboard right now to take 1 minute or 2 minutes, make a tally chart and a picture graph. And I'm gonna do it and you can follow along with me. You ready? So what are we doing? Types of balls. Type of ball. Okay. And I'm gonna there's 3 types. There's the football. There's the soccer ball. And I'm just doing a quick sketch. And there's the kickball. How many footballs are there? 1, 2, 3. So I'm gonna tally 1, 2, 3. How many soccer balls are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. How many kickballs are there? 1. Now I'm going to make a picture graph. So I have my, okay, here we go. I'm going to make my football, my soccer ball, and my kickball. And I'm going to put types of balls. Okay? I look at my data. There were 3, so I'm going to draw 3 circles of the same size. Now, all my circles have to be the same size in the whole graph, okay? How many soccer balls? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. How many kickballs? 1. Now I could write football, soccer ball, kickball as well. Let's take a look. It says complete the tally chart. Complete the picture graph. We already did it. Mm-hmm. Look at us go. They did it in a different order. Does it matter what order they're in?
No.
No. So we get to go past that one. Ooh, now we have a new problem. Are you ready? Circle the fruit that the most children like. So they took a poll in their classroom and they said, which fruit do you like the most? Apple, strawberries, or grapes? Which one did the most children like? Well, apples has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 children. Strawberries has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 children. Grapes has 5, 6, 7, 8 children. So what fruit do most children like? Grapes. Now, I could tell that without counting. How might I tell that without counting? Well, which picture graph is the longest? It's the grapes, because it has the most pictures of people's faces. Each of these faces is one student, right? So the one that has the most or the longest, as long as all of the pictures are the same size, the one that has the longest amount of pictures is the most. Let's see if we're gonna answer some questions. Ooh, we're gonna answer questions about this graph. What's this graph about? It must be how many blocks they have of each kind of block. Children count their blocks. How many blocks do they count in all? Oh. Rashid, how would we figure that out? They only told me how many they have of each kind of block. How do we figure out how many blocks there are in all? We can add up all the different block totals. So if I add up the blue blocks and the red blocks and the green blocks, if I add them all together, I would get how many blocks there are in the whole pile. Do you agree with me, first graders? Let's try it. 9. Ooh, I don't like red. Erase all. Different color. 9 plus 4 plus 6. Can you add that, first graders? What is the total number of blocks? I heard someone say, I see a friend of 10. They do, it's right here. So how many total blocks? 19. There are 19 blocks. Kiss your brains. Look at that. We looked at a graph and answered a question about it. The tally chart shows Miss Lee's markers. Ooh, these ones are going to be tricky. Are you ready? Get your board out. Mr. Kevin, we can leave it whole for right now, and then as we answer problems, we'll go on to the whiteboard. Okay. I'm going to do some drawing of some bar models down here. So what do you see in the chart? There's a marker, there's blue, red, or yellow, and there's tallies. Now, something I like to do when I see a chart like this is I like to figure out the total of each category, even if it doesn't ask me to, because then I know all the numbers. And I just do it. So I see 2 groups of 5, which is 10 and 2 more. So blue has 12. Red has 5 and 3, which is 8. And yellow has 5, 10, 15. Okay, now I'm ready. So the first question is, how many more yellow than red? So I'm going to make my little bar, and I know I'm comparing. So my bars are going to look like this, and I'm trying to find this different part. Trying to find this right here. How many more? This whole bar is yellow. How many yellows are there? 15. How many reds are there? 8. So if we have a whole and we have a part, how do we find the other part? We subtract. Go ahead, 15 seconds. What's 15 minus 8? Okay, take a look at my whiteboard. Mr. Kevin, I did 15 minus 8 equals 7, and how I got that was I started at 15, and I took away 5 from the 8, and I got 10, and I had 3 more I needed to take away, and that got me to 7. 15 minus 8 equals 7. Okay, let's figure out the next one. I'm going to erase just the information in my bar. Okay, how many fewer red than blue? So let's look at red and blue. Which one's greater? Blue. So blue's gonna go on the top, red's gonna go on the bottom. And we're trying to find fewer this time, but it's still the part that's different. We're just trying to figure out how many less the bottom bar has than the top bar. How many blue are there? 12, put 12 in your top bar. How many red are there? 8. Look at that, we have a whole and a part, which means we get to subtract again. 12 minus 8 equals something. Go ahead and solve. You have 10 seconds. Here we go. Okay, take a look at what I did was I took 12 minus 8 and I said 12 minus 2 is 10, so I've used 2 of my 8, which means I have 6 left. So 10 minus 6 equals 4. Another way you could do this is say I'm at 8 and I need to get to 12. 8 to 10 is 2 and 10 to 12 is 2. So the part that's in between is 2 plus 2, which is 4. Okay, let's look at the next problem. Children name their favorite weather. How many more chose sunny than rainy? Well, let's just look at that graph. What do you notice? 11 children like sun. Mr. Kevin, what do you notice on the graph?
Let's see. I noticed that three kids like clouds.
Yeah. You know, my niece Hayden, she likes cloudy weather because she has a vision impairment, and outside when it's sunny, it's really bright and gives her a headache. So she really likes dark, cloudy days because she doesn't get a headache.
Oh.
And 6 kids like rainy days. I bet they like stomping in the puddles or making mud pies. That would be my guess. So it says, how many more chose sunny than rainy? This is one of those how many more, how many fewer. Can you show my whiteboard, Mr. Kevin? So we're gonna make that comparison model again. So we know one's going to be more than the other. And our 2 pieces of data we're looking at is sunny and rainy. So sunny, that's this one, and rainy, that's this one. Which piece of data is gonna go on the top bar? Which one has more? Sunny, so I have the sunshine on the top, and how many is that? 11. And then rainy is on the bottom. How many is that? 6. So we're trying to figure out this part, the how many more or fewer part. So we have a whole and a part, which means we can do 11 minus 6 equals blank. Go ahead and solve. You have 15, 20 seconds. Go. Okay, here we go. 11 minus 1 equals 10. And 10 minus 5 equals 5. 5 more children like sunny days than rainy days. We could also start at 6 and count to 11. 6 to 10 is 4. And 10 to 11 is 1. And 4 plus 1 is 5. Either way works, friends. Okay, your assignment today is to do page 419 and 420 in your math workbook, answering more problems just like this about charts and graphs. Today we learned to organize data. We put it in a tally chart, record it in a picture graph, and answer questions about it. We were able to sort things, we were able to record the data on a chart, and we were able to answer questions about that data. Mr. Kevin, how can they contact us here at the TV Classroom?
Well, first graders, you can ask an adult to help you if you need it to fire up the old email machine and email us at tvclassroom@tacoma.k12.wa.us. You can also put something in the mail. TV Classroom, 601 South 8th Street, Tacoma, Washington, 98405.
Thank you, Mr. Kevin. All right, friends, up next is ELA with Miss Oslin. Make sure that you gather your materials, your learning packet, your learning notebook, your pencil, and your buddy, and be ready to learn after your break when she comes on the screen. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I will see you next time. Bye.
Rules. 1. You have 10 seconds to pick your crewmate. 2. A new timer will appear with an exercise for the crewmate you picked. 3. You will get points for each correct crewmate and exercise you choose. 4. If you pick the imposter, you will lose all your points. 5. Use your math skills to see how many points you can get. Good luck.
Hi, first graders. Welcome back from your break. Excellent job gathering your materials and being ready to learn. You can take your ELA packet, your writing or learning notebook and pencil, put those off to the side. You won't need those yet, but go ahead and hold on to your learning buddy if they are going to help you focus today. Now let's remind ourselves, what is your job today and every day when we come together? It is to listen, share, read, and write.
Right.
You are a strong listener when you keep your eyes on the speaker, when you listen to the speaker, and when you think about the words and the questions in our stories. You will get an opportunity to share today. I do want you talking out loud, either to someone in the room with you, your learning buddy, maybe you have a Pebble at home, or you could talk with me on the screen. Okay, today we're going to read a new fiction book called Poppleton by Cynthia Ryland. Like several of the fiction stories that we've read, the main character, Poppleton, is a talking animal, and so are all of his friends. However, the story isn't a traditional tale. We actually call this a fantasy story. Say fantasy. Fantasy means it's a story that could not possibly be real. Look at the cover. What do you see that lets you know that Poppleton is a fantasy story? It could not be real. Take some think time. Turn and tell your learning buddy what you see on the front cover that lets you know that Poppleton is fantasy. It could not be real. Rashid, the animals are wearing clothes. Animals don't wear clothes. Now, looking at the front cover again, what do you know about our character Poppleton, that's the pig, just by looking at him? What do you notice? Turn and tell your learning buddy. Mr. Kevin, what do you notice?
He looks well-mannered, dresses sharply.
How can you tell he's well-mannered?
Well, he's tipping his hat to his friend there across the fence.
I was going to say the exact same thing, that he's dressed fancy and that because he's tipping his hat, that tells us that he has really good manners or is really friendly. Okay, look at this page. I noticed some more things on this page that tell me that this story is fantasy. First of all, pigs don't really eat with a fork and a spoon. And is that a llama carrying a plate of food, wearing clothes? That couldn't really happen. Today we're learning that readers get to know characters by paying attention to what they say, what they think, and what they do. And we're going to follow Poppleton through one story. This book actually has 3 different stories in it. Today we're going to read one of them. Nice little town. Meet the characters. Poppleton, Cherry Sue, and Fillmore. Pay close attention to what our characters say, what they think, and what they do. Neighbors. Poppleton used to be a city pig. He did city things. He took taxis, he jogged in the park, he went to museums. Then one day, Poppleton got tired of city life. He moved to a small house in a small town. Poppleton's small house was charming. It had a little sunroom where Poppleton took naps. It had lots and lots of shelves where Poppleton kept things. It had a little garden where Poppleton planted corn. And it had Cherry Sue. Cherry Sue was Poppleton's new neighbor. Okay, let's pause here. And in your ELA packet, you have a graphic organizer called Understanding the Characters. And we're going to use that to help us think about who is the main character, What does the main character look like? And what does the main character like to do? Take some think time thinking about those 3 questions. Turn and tell your learning buddy what you know about our character so far. Rashid, our main character, that's who the story is mostly about, is Poppleton. And I know that because his picture is on almost every page and his name is the title of the book. And he looks like a pig who likes to wear fancy clothes. And what does he like to do? Well, he likes to garden and take naps. Now, I'm going to write that on my graphic organizer. Who is the main character? Poppleton. And I can just copy Poppleton's name right from the book so I know how to spell it. What does he or she look like? He's a pig who wears fancy clothes. What does he like to do? Take naps. And work in his garden. Okay, let's keep reading, thinking about what does he not like to do and what does he say? Is there anything that he says over and over that might be important? Okay, we just met Cherry Sue, Poppleton's new neighbor. Cherry Sue was very friendly. In the morning, she called out, "Yoo-hoo, Poppleton, would you like some oatmeal?" So Poppleton had oatmeal with Cherry Sue. In the afternoons, she called out, "Yoo-hoo, Poppleton, would you like a toasted cheese?" So Poppleton had toasted cheese with Cherry Sue. At night, she called out, "Yoo-hoo, Poppleton, would you like spaghetti?" So Poppleton had spaghetti with Cherry Sue. This went on day after day. At first, it was fun, but not for long. Okay, so we're thinking about Poppleton. What we know about Poppleton is he used to live in the city, and he left the city to move to a small town. He likes to take naps and garden, and these are things that he does alone. And we now know that Cherry Sue, Poppleton's new neighbor, is very friendly. She invites him over for breakfast and lunch and dinner. And she calls to him, what does she say to him every day? "Yoo-hoo, Poppleton." And here the narrator says, "At first it was fun, but not for long." I think what that means is that Poppleton maybe moved to a small town to get away from other people, or maybe it's just too much of the same person. Sometimes that happens when we spend a lot of time with one person, we kind of need a break. So I think we could add that to our graphic organizer. What does he or she not like to do? We could say, be with one person all the time. We haven't really heard Poppleton say anything yet. So let's keep paying attention. What does he say? What does he think? And what does he do? Some mornings, Poppleton did not want oatmeal. He wanted to sleep. Some afternoons, Poppleton didn't want toasted cheese. He wanted TV. Some nights, Poppleton did not want spaghetti. He wanted to practice his harmonica. But Cherry Sue kept calling, "Yoo-hoo, Poppleton." So Poppleton wants to sleep, he wants to watch TV, he wants to practice his harmonica. What do you think he's going to do next? Take some think time. Turn and tell your learning buddy what you're thinking. Rashid, I think maybe Poppleton could just say, no thanks, I'd like to sleep in, or no thanks, I'm watching TV. Let's find out. Oh, wasn't expecting that. One day when he was watering his lawn, Poppleton couldn't take it anymore. When Cherry Sue stuck her head out the window and yelled, "Yoo-hoo," Poppleton soaked her with the hose. "Poppleton!" cried Cherry Sue, dripping. Oh my goodness, that surprised me. I can't believe Poppleton sprayed Cherry Sue with the hose. He's usually very polite. Mr. Kevin even pointed out at the beginning we thought we knew that he was polite because he was tipping his hat. Why do you think Poppleton is doing this? Spraying Cherry Sue with his hose? Take some think time. Turn and tell your learning buddy what you're thinking. Rashid, I think he just got so frustrated. He got to like a 4 or a 5 on the feelings thermometer where he was feeling something really strongly and he couldn't stop and think first. And he definitely did something that he shouldn't have done. We've all been there. Okay, let's read to see what happens next. Poppleton felt awful. He ran to get a towel for Cherry Sue. "I'm sorry, Cherry Sue," said Poppleton. "I just got so sick of oatmeal and toasted cheese and spaghetti. Sometimes I just like to be alone." "You too?" said Cherry Sue. "I kept inviting you over because I didn't know how to stop inviting you over. I thought it might hurt your feelings." Then Poppleton soaked himself with the hose. They laughed and laughed. Poppleton and Cherry Sue were best friends from then on. I want you to do some thinking about Poppleton and Cherry Sue's actions and think about how the words and the pictures better helped us understand who our characters are. And I'm going to show you this picture again. Turn and tell your learning buddy what you're thinking. Rashid, we all do that. We all do what's called snap, which means we're feeling really strongly, we're in the red zone, and we get so out of control that we do something without even thinking, even though we know we shouldn't have done it. But Poppleton feels bad afterwards, and he tries to make it up to his friend, which tells me that he really is a good friend. And I also noticed that Cherry Sue and Poppleton used one of our strategies, talk it out, to resolve their conflict. And they became best friends after that. Now, today we've decided that Poppleton was the main character. That's who the story is mostly about. And we thought about what the character says and does and thinks and feels to get to know Poppleton better. Today we learned that readers get to know characters by paying attention to what they say, think, and do. And that's what you are going to do today during your independent reading time. Pay close attention and complete this graphic organizer or write in your learning notebook everything that you learn about the characters in your books. You're also going to continue tracking your reading goals, making sure that you're building your reading stamina, reading for longer and longer periods of time, and reading different types of books. And of course, we would love to see your writing. Send it to us here at TV Classroom, and we will respond. Mr. Kevin, can you tell our first graders how they can send us their work?
Absolutely, I'd love to. TV Classroom at tacoma.k12.wa.us. That's our email address. If you need help creating an email, opening email, All that, just ask an adult. They'll help you. You can also send them via mail to our TV Classroom studios here at 601 South 8th Street, Tacoma, Washington, 98405.
Thank you, Mr. Kevin. Now, first graders, it's time for our affirmation. This is the time of the day when we say positive things about ourselves before we go off to do our independent reading and writing and thinking. And today I want you to remind yourself that your thinking is important. So your affirmation is, my thinking is important. Go ahead and say that out loud with me. My thinking is important. Excellent job today, first graders. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you back here next time in our TV classroom. Bye.
Hey kids, we want to see your work. Just send your pictures and your stories to TV Classroom, 601 South 8th Street, Tacoma, Washington, 98405.